Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Coco Gauff makes feelings clear about Danielle Collins after frustrating Canadian Open face-off. After withdrawing her name from the 2025 City Open, citing a busy schedule and wanting to have a real training block, Coco Gauff was desperate to get back to winning tracks in Montreal. Talking about his return to the tournament, Gauff said, "Being back in Montreal is great, and it's definitely refreshing. I like this tournament a lot, and would love to do great here one of these years." But she was handed a very tricky matchup right in the first match of this tournament. Guess what? Danielle Collins nearly pulled off a massive upset in this epic duel in the R64 of the 2025 Canadian Open. Collins had entered this contest following a 6-3, 7-5 win over Victoria Tomova in the R128. Shortly after that incredible victory, Danielle Collins spoke about her upcoming match against Coco Gauff, and she said, "We're going to bring the energy. We're going to bring that feistiness, right? We're going to go out and just battle." Well, interestingly, both these players gifted the tennis fans a stellar show in Montreal. Although Coco Gauff managed to secure the first set by 7-5, Danielle Collins came back strongly to secure the second one by 4-6. However, after a fierce fight in the third set, Gauff did manage to wrap up the match by 7-5, 4-6, 7-6-2. Although Gauff managed to secure her first win since Roland Garros' triumph, her performance in this match wasn't up to the mark. She committed 23 double faults in this match. What was her reaction to this narrow escape? Definitely have a lot left in the tank. Yeah, it was a frustrating match for me because I felt like I was practicing well, and then I don't think I transferred today," said Gauff. In the same post-match interview, she further added, "Hopefully, here I got my bad match of the tournament out of the way, and I can come back stronger in the next round." Having said that, she also shared a few words about her opponent, Danielle Collins, and hailed her for showcasing incredible resilience in this tight contest. "This is my first time playing Danielle Collins. She's obviously a tough competitor, a great tennis player, a great person. I got to know her very well at the United Cup. She's always nice to me. So yeah, it was a tough battle out there." What a match it was, though. Coco Gauff was just 2 points away from facing yet another early exit. However, Collins never really reached the match point and lost 9 of the last 11 points in this epic duel, which lasted for almost 2 hours and 55 minutes. But despite playing an ugly brand of tennis, Gauff yet again managed to end up on the winning side. What are the key takeaways for Gauff in this match? Danielle is a great ball striker, and for me to break her as many times as I did, there's definitely some positives to take from today," Coco Gauff added in her post-match interview. Next up for her is the former world number 9, Veronika Kudermetova. Both these players have faced each other 3 times in their careers, and currently, the American has a 2-1 record against the Russian star. Can Gauff keep her winning run intact? Time will tell. But this wasn't the first time that we've seen her win a match after playing a poor brand of tennis. Tennis World reunites to share their thoughts on how Coco Gauff manages to steal victory from the jaws of defeat. Coco Gauff versus Danielle Collins was a match full of drama. On one side, we witnessed Coco Gauff's constant struggle with her second serve, and then in another moment, we witnessed Collins' angry outburst during the second set of this match. Collins is known for her on-court intensity and passionate displays, leading to angry outbursts. This time, after failing to secure a point against Gauff after a rally, Collins smashed her racket on the ground. The score was then 1-1 in the second set. After failing to secure the first set, perhaps Collins was a bit too desperate to get back in this match, and eventually she managed to pull herself back in with an impressive performance in the second set. Her resilience was truly praiseworthy, but what wasn't at all praiseworthy was Coco Gauff's performance in this match. However, having said that, perhaps most of the fans are now quite well accustomed to seeing her win matches out of nowhere. Remember what happened at last year's WTA Finals? Gauff was down by 5-3 in the third set against Qinwen Zheng, but despite trailing, she ended up on the winning side. Reacting to that impressive comeback win, she said that she was just trying to hang in there instead of giving up. Even this year, at the Italian SF, Gauff faced a tough challenge against Jung. But eventually, after a tough battle, Coco Gauff managed to win the match by 7-6-3, 4-6, 7-6-4. How does she manage to bring out favorable results from unfavorable circumstances time and again? Well, in a previous episode of the TC Live podcast, Andy Roddick said, she has confidence when chips are down, even if she doesn't have her best stuff, even when she thinks she feels like she's hitting a beach ball that day. It doesn't know where it's going. She can still kind of grind in and simmer in, and that's what we call match tough. He claims, she's just really good at dragging you into the gutter when she is not playing well. The 7-time Grand Slam champion, Justin Hennon, had also once hailed Gauff's resilience by saying that she has the capability to bounce back, and that's the sign of a potentially very big future. During the 2025 French Open, Coco Gauff secured a 6-2, 6-4 victory against Teresa Valentova CZ. However, despite that straight-set win, her performance in that match became the talk of the town. Why? Coco Gauff landed 70% of her first serves, won just 19% of her second serve points, and was broken 5 times in that match. While sharing her thoughts on that match, she said, "I felt like today isn't always the way I like to play, but that was what was required for today, to be honest." Even Roger Federer's ex-coach, Paul Annacone, was left impressed with this line. No matter how badly she plays, as long as she wins her matches, everything could perhaps be fine. What are your thoughts on this, though? Coco Gauff makes feelings clear about Danielle Collins after frustrating Canadian Open face-off. The tennis world thrives on passion, rivalries, and those raw, unscripted moments that remind us all that the stars on court are human. That was exactly the case at the Canadian Open when Coco Gauff found herself locked in a tense, emotional battle against fellow American Danielle Collins. An encounter that sparked headlines, whispers, and a surprisingly candid response from Gauff afterward. A clash of fire and ice. From the moment the draw was released, there was buzz. Gauff versus Collins. A battle of generations. The calm and composed rising star against the fiery, unpredictable veteran. Though the two had crossed paths before, this meeting in Montreal felt different, electric, even before the first serve. Danielle Collins came out swinging, aggressive from the baseline, relentless with her return game, and vocal with every winner she crushed down the line. Gauff, just 20 but already a Grand Slam champion, struggled to find her rhythm early. Unforced errors plagued her game, while Collins fed off momentum like it was oxygen. Each point felt like a chess match crossed with a street fight. There were fist pumps, deep exhales, and an unusually tense energy between the two Americans. The tension peaked in the second set, when an extended rally ended with Collins roaring and Coco barely holding back a frustrated glare. By the end of the 3-set marathon, which Collins won in gritty fashion 6-3, 4-6, 7-5, it wasn't just the scoreline that told the story. It was the body language, the long handshake, or lack thereof, and Gauff's quick exit from the court. Post-match honesty. In the post-match press conference, Coco Gauff didn't mince her words. "I won't sugarcoat it. It was frustrating," Gauff admitted, her voice even but edged with raw emotion. Not just the result, but everything about the match, the vibe, the energy, how things were handled. When pressed further, she elaborated without turning it into a personal attack. "Look, Danielle plays hard. She plays loud, and that's part of her game. I respect her as a competitor, but sometimes it gets under your skin, especially when you're trying to focus. Today it did." The room fell silent for a beat. Rarely does Gauff, usually the embodiment of professionalism and poise, express even a flicker of conflict. But that's what made her honesty resonate. "I'm not saying she did anything wrong," Gauff added quickly, "but I'm human. I was trying to stay composed, and it got to me. That's on me to handle better next time." A tale of two mindsets. Collins, on the other hand, offered her own take later in the day, unapologetic and candid as always. "That's tennis," she said with a shrug. "We're out there battling, not baking cookies. I bring fire, and I don't plan to change that. If I rattle someone, that's part of the mental game." For Collins, this was business as usual. Compete hard, speak truth, move on. But for Gauff, who's built her brand on maturity beyond her years and mutual respect, the emotional aftermath lingered. Ripple effects and media storm. Within hours, social media was ablaze. Some fans sided with Gauff, praising her grace under pressure. Others backed Collins, defending her right to be intense and expressive. A few pundits wondered aloud if this was the beginning of a compelling new American rivalry, one that went beyond tennis strokes and into personality clashes. What no one could deny was how real the match felt. In an era of curated answers and scripted responses, Coco Gauff showed that even the most polished stars have moments of vulnerability, and that's what made her reaction so compelling. Lessons from a battle. A few days later, Coco posted to her Instagram. No rants, no shade, just a thoughtful reflection. Tough one in Montreal. Credit to Danielle, she fought hard. I learned a lot about myself in that match. Growth isn't always smooth, but it's always worth it. On to the next. With that, she effectively closed the chapter, but not before leaving a final, subtle nod in a podcast interview days later. Every match teaches you something. Some teach you how to win. Some teach you how to keep your cool when things get loud. Was it a jab? Perhaps. Or maybe it was just Gauff's way of acknowledging that tennis is more than strokes. It's psychology, emotion, and navigating personalities, just as much as forehands and serves. Beyond the baseline, what happened in Montreal might not define their careers, but it did offer a window into the evolving dynamic between two very different players. Coco Gauff is methodical, humble, strategic. She wears her heart on her sleeve, but rarely lets it show. She embodies a new generation of athletes, smart, media-savvy, and conscious of their influence. Danielle Collins is passion incarnate. She plays like every point is personal, fueling her game with emotion and confrontation. She may ruffle feathers, but she never hides who she is. Together, they created a match that fans will remember, not just for the scoreline, but for the unfiltered emotion that bled through. What comes next? For Gauff, the loss was a setback, but also a motivator. She's known for bouncing back stronger, and sources close to her team suggested she ramped up her mental conditioning work following the loss. Whether or not she meets Collins again soon, there's little doubt that next time, she'll walk onto the court with renewed focus and an extra layer of grit. As for Collins, she marches forward, undeterred and as fierce as ever. Asked whether she expects any lingering tension with Gauff, she simply said, "I don't hold grudges. If we play again, I'll bring the same energy. And I expect her to do the same." That's what makes great matches. The fire that fuels the game. In the grand scheme of tennis, rivalries, whether respectful or tense, are the lifeblood of the sport. They give fans something to feel, not just watch. The Gauff-Collins clash in Montreal wasn't just a match. It was a moment of clarity, tension, and truth. And perhaps, in time, it will be seen not as a rift, but as the spark that lit the next great chapter in American women's tennis.